India continues steady battle against COVID-19. Health Ministry says continuous decrease in cases since India reported a peak on 7th of May. Less than 3 lakh daily cases since 17th May. 24 states report decline in active cases since last week. 25 states record more recovery than reported daily cases today. Cyclone YAAS weakens into a depression and lays centered over central part of Jharkhand. Heavy rainfall creates a flood-like situation in many parts of Odisha and West Bengal. Prime Minister chairs a meeting to review the impact of Cyclone YAAS Prime Minister to visit Odisha and West Bengal to review the impact of Cyclone YAAS tomorrow. Union IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad reiterates that government fully recognizes and respects the right of privacy, says new rules require social media companies to set up an India-based grievance redressal forum, assures government welcomes criticism including the right to ask questions. US President Joe Biden orders US intelligence agencies to submit a report in next 3 months on the origins of COVID-19 virus in China. American health expert Dr. Anthony Fauci also supports the probe. Namaskar, you're watching DD News in DD India and I'm Sakal Bhatt, and to begin with the top story we are tracking for you at this hour. Let's first take a look at the fresh COVID figures that were just a while back issued by Union Health Ministry as India continues its fight to beat pandemic. The active caseload has further declined to 24.19 lakh, which means a decrease of 75,684 cases in active cases has been witnessed in the last 24 hours. Also, at 2.11 lakh cases, declining trend is new cases maintained. Over 2 crore 46 lakh total recoveries across the country have been registered so far. Over 2 lakh 83,000 COVID patients have recovered during the last 24 hours. Recoveries continue to outnumber the daily new cases for the 14th consecutive day. Recovery rate improves further to 90.01%. Weekly positivity rate currently stands at 10.93%. Daily positivity rate stands at 9.79%, which is less than 10% for 3 consecutive days.
Recovered cases जो पिछले 14 दिनों से on a consistent basis हम पा रहे हैं कि देश में recoveries are more than the cases being reported. अगर आप देखें कि रिकवरी रेट में कैसे बढ़ोतरी हो रही है, तो जहां एक स्थाई पर देश में रिकवरी 81.8% 3 मई को नोट की गई थी, वह बढ़ते बढ़ते 18 मई को 85.6% और हम देश में देखते हैं तो पाते हैं कि हमारी रिकवरी परसेंटेज अब बढ़कर 90% हो गई है। पिछले 3 हफ्तों से देश का ओवरऑल जो वीकली पॉजिटिविटी रेट है उसमें एक रिडक्शन आ रहा है, जहां 29 अप्रैल वाले सप्ताह में देश में एवरेज पॉजिटिविटी 21.5% थी, वह घटते घटते अब 10.45% ही रह गई है।
COVID vaccination drive in India continues. Over 20 crore 26 lakh doses have been administered within 131 days. After the USA, India is the second country to achieve the 20 crore vaccination doses landmark. Now, the cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country stood at 20 crore 26 lakh 95,874. 15 crore 90 lakh 25,000 plus beneficiaries have been vaccinated for first dose, and 4 crore 36 lakh 70,546 beneficiaries received their second dose of vaccine. Now, as on day 131st, 131 days are over, and the vaccination drive that is on the 26th of May, that is yesterday, total of 18,85,805 vaccine doses have been given. 17,33,643 beneficiaries in the age group of 18 to 44 years have received their first dose of COVID vaccine on Wednesday. 1,52,162 beneficiaries received second dose of vaccine in a single day, and states like Bihar, Gujarat, Rajasthan, UP, they have been administered more than 10 lakh beneficiaries of the age group of 18 to 44 for their first dose of COVID vaccine. Government of India has so far provided both through the free of the cost category and through direct state procurement category more than 22 crore vaccine doses provided to the states and union territories. Of this, the total consumption includes the wastage, including the wastage, stands at 20 crore 17 lakh 59,768 doses. More than 1.84 crore doses are still available with the states and union territories, which will be administered in near future. Furthermore, over 11 lakh vaccine doses are in the pipeline and will be received by the states and union territories within the next 3 days.
गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया द्वारा जो फ्री सप्लाईज हैं उनके तहत अब तक हम 14.85 करोड़ लोग जो कि 45 वर्ष से अधिक आयु के उनको कवर कर चुके हैं। हेल्थ केयर वर्कर्स 1.65 करोड़ डोजेज दी जा चुकी हैं। फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर्स को 2.37 करोड़ डोजेज दी जा चुकी हैं। और साथ ही जो लिबरलाइज पॉलिसी के तहत जिसमें कि 18 से 44 साल के लोगों के लिए भी वैक्सीनेशन ओपन किया गया था, वह भी अब स्टेबलाइज हो रहा है और अब करीब 1.39 करोड़ डोजेज देश में उस एज ग्रुप को भी दी जा चुकी हैं।
Member Health in Niti Aayog, Dr. Vinod Pal, has said that the central government has remained engaged continuously with all the major international vaccine manufacturers. He added that vaccines are in limited supply globally and companies have their own priorities in allocating the stocks. Manufacturers are also giving preferences to countries of their origin, just as our own vaccine makers have done unhesitantly for us.
The vaccines developed in other countries, a large part of those vaccines was supplied to the same country. So the US made vaccines went in a big way to the US, and that was taken for them as a priority. And it is nothing surprising, because when we look upon our vaccine manufacturers, they also unhesitatingly offer the vaccines to our own nation. Now that the vaccine availability for their countries of origin has been met to a large extent, the companies are, and their own production capacities are also rising now that they are confident of the market and the success of the vaccine. That's how our companies will also do. There will be vaccine which is available for others to take. But clearly, the countries of origin have been an important priority for the producers of vaccines. So now it's available for other countries, partly through COVAX, partly through bilateral arrangements, and often these are small countries with small requirements. So it's a changing scene. But to begin with, a focus on their own respective countries and countries with which they have special arrangements has been a way that has been followed by them.
Government of India has been receiving international cooperation of COVID-19 relief medical supplies and equipment since 27th of April 2021 from different countries and organizations. Now, these are being promptly dispatched and delivered to the states and union territories. This is the latest update. So, cumulatively, 18,006 oxygen concentrators, 19,085 oxygen cylinders, 19 oxygen generation plants, 14,000 plus ventilators, 7 lakh remdesivir vials, 12 lakh favipiravir tablets have been delivered and dispatched through road and air from 27th of April 2021 to 26th of May 2021. And meanwhile, after the cyclone YAAS in Odisha, the first oxygen expresses left from Rourkela of Odisha to Nellore in Andhra Pradesh early this morning. This oxygen relief express is about 78 metric tons of oxygen in 4 containers. In order to provide relief to the country, another Oxygen Express has reached its destination earlier. Oxygen Express train, which reached Ernakulam of Kerala from Rourkela of Orissa, has 7 containers of 133.64 metric oxygen. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today launched the services e-health assistance and teleconsultation Sehat OPD portal via video conferencing. Through this portal, serving defence personnel from Army, Navy, Air Force and ex-service personnel can take teleconsultations from armed forces specialist doctors. It will cater to around 4 crore people and family members of the defence personnel. Those aged 75 years and above will not need to wait to get consultation. The Defence Minister said the portal reflects the Ministry's commitment towards Digital India and e-governance.
इस पोर्टल के आने से ऐसी अनेक समस्याओं का एक साथ ही समाधान हुआ है। यह बहुत ही क्रिटिकल टाइम पर सर्विस पर्सनल के स्वास्थ्य के लिए उठाया गया बहुत ही बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण कदम है। यह पोर्टल डिजिटल इंडिया और हमारे ई गवर्नेंस के प्रति हमारे कमिटमेंट को भी दर्शाता है। हमारा हमेशा प्रयास रहा है कि हम अपने देशवासियों को बेहतर, तेज और पारदर्शी सुविधाएं दे सकें। यह पोर्टल भी उसी की एक मिसाल है।
The Defence Minister praised the work being done by the Ministry of Defence and the Armed Forces in combating COVID-19, saying that even during the second wave of COVID, the Ministry of Defence is providing all the possible assistance, even adding that the DRDO has set up COVID hospitals and oxygen generation plants in Delhi, Lucknow, Varanasi and other parts of the country.
कोविड की यह वेव न केवल अप्रत्याशित बल्कि पहले की अपेक्षा अधिक खतरनाक भी थी, पर उसी अनुपात में ही कोविड के इस दूसरे दौर में भी रक्षा मंत्रालय ने बढ़ चढ़कर अपनी सेवाएं प्रदान की हैं और इस ओर आप सबके सम्मिलित प्रयास बहुत ही सराहनीय हैं। हमारी आर्म्ड फोर्सेस ने भी कोविड अस्पतालों में ट्रेंड मेडिकल और सपोर्ट मैन पावर प्रदान किया है। यही नहीं, यहां जरूरत पड़ी हमारी सेनाओं ने तकनीकी और लॉजिस्टिक सपोर्ट के क्षेत्रों में भी बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई है। देश विदेश से समय पर ऑक्सीजन और अन्य क्रिटिकल मेडिकल इक्विपमेंट लाने में एयरफोर्स और नेवी का बहुत बड़ा योगदान रहा है।
Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan addresses a meeting of health ministers and members and other observer states of the non-aligned movement being held on the sidelines of the 74th World Health Assembly. Health Minister has said that India is committed with work with all NAM members states for effective, efficient and responsive discharge of public health obligations.
We need an aggressive roadmap to curtail deaths from diseases that can be eliminated. We need a fresh roadmap to address shortages of medicines and vaccines. Our motto should always be to protect the health of those without wealth. I am sure you all share the same sentiment. Friends, India is committed to working with all NAM member states for the efficient, effective and responsive discharge of public health obligations. Let us work as partners towards an enlightened, inclusive and cooperative global response. I am confident that non-aligned movement nations will emerge stronger and more resilient in all spheres of public health.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a meeting to review the impact of cyclone YAAS. Officials made a detailed presentation on various aspects of the level of preparedness, assessment of damage and related matters. It was discussed that about 106 teams of NDRF are deployed with 46 teams each in affected states like West Bengal, Odisha that rescued more than 1,000 persons and removed more than 2,500 trees, poles that had fallen and obstructed the roads. The defence forces, namely Armed and Coast Guard, also rescued marooned persons, while Navy and Air Force were on alert. Though the states are engaged in the assessment of the damage caused in aftermath of the cyclone YAAS, from the preliminary reports available, it is seen that thanks to the accurate forecasting, effective communication to the people in affected areas and also evacuation in timely manner by states and central agencies, this has ensured minimal loss of human life. At the same time, due to the inundation, there have been damages which are being assessed. Power and telecom services have been restored in most of the affected areas. Prime Minister noted the effective and proactive role played by the central and state agencies in responding to the challenges thrown by the cyclone and advised the agencies to ensure that normal life is restored in the affected areas at the earliest and that the relief is appropriately dispersed to persons affected by the cyclone. So these were the officials who also attended the meeting chaired by Prime Minister. In fact, Prime Minister Modi will be visiting Odisha and West Bengal on 28th of May, that is tomorrow. He will be chairing and reviewing meetings in two states to assess the impact of cyclone YAAS. Prime Minister will also be undertaking an aerial survey of the areas affected by cyclone in these two states. And we have some update of YAAS. Cyclone YAAS has moved to Jharkhand in deep depression mode. The state has witnessed heavy rain showers due to cyclone. Red alert has been issued by the IMD. Ranchi, Kunti, Gumla, Latehar, Chhatra in Jharkhand are expected to witness rain showers throughout today. Seeing the intensity of the cyclone, people of Jharkhand have been asked to stay indoors for the next 24 hours. Also, people residing in low-lying areas have been moved to safer places. Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren has asked NDRF teams and other officials to be on their toes to deal with any emergency-like situation and to be on high vigil. 7 Indian Navy teams from Visakhapatnam, comprising 2 diving and 5 flood relief teams, undertook relief operations in the aftermath of impending cyclone YAAS at 3 separate locations. The Navy teams are located at Digha, Frizerganj and Diamond Harbour in West Bengal. Government of India strongly controverts the claims made by Twitter. Ministry of Electronics and IT has said that Twitter's statement is an attempt to dictate its terms to the world's largest democracy. Condemning the statement, government termed the statement is totally baseless, false and an attempt to defame India to hide their own follies. Twitter's statement is an attempt to dictate its terms to the world's largest democracy. Twitter refuses to comply with those very regulations in the intermediary guidelines on the basis of which it is claiming a safe harbor protection from any criminal liability in India. India has a glorious tradition of free speech and democratic practices dating back centuries. Protecting free speech in India is not the prerogative of only a private, for-profit or foreign entity like Twitter. That's the response that has come from Government of India. Shailendra Mishra is with us on phone line on this.
जी सकल हम जानते हैं कि बहुत एक महत्वपूर्ण बयान सरकार की तरफ से आया है जिसमें ट्विटर ने जो एक बयान जारी कर कहा था कि उसे कुछ मोहलत चाहिए और कई ऐसी बातें कही थी जो नए नियम हैं सोशल मीडिया के लिए सरकार ने जो लागू कर दिए गए हैं उसको लेकर एक मोहलत मांगी थी और साथ ही साथ अपने कर्मचारियों को लेकर कुछ चिंता भी जताई थी। उसको लेकर आज एक तरफ से कहें सरकार की तरफ से कड़ा बयान आया है कि ट्विटर एक प्रॉफिट मेकिंग कंपनी है और जो भारत का जो लीगल फ्रेमवर्क है वो सरकार का अधिकार है और ऐसे में उस पर सवाल उठाना दरअसल ये कतई उचित नहीं है। और जो फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच की बात होती है, खुद अगर ट्विटर देखें हाल में ट्विटर ने जो एक तरह से कुछ कई मामलों में ट्वीट में ऐसी कार्रवाई की जिसमें एक तरह से देखें कुछ ऐसे ट्वीट हुए जिनको लेकर भारत को बदनाम करने की कोशिश की गई, लेकिन ट्विटर ने स्वतः अपनी तरफ से उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं की थी, जबकि कई ट्वीट पर उसने खुद से कार्रवाई की। वही दर्शाता है कि ट्विटर का जो रवैया है वो किस तरह का रहा है। खासतौर पर सकल बताना चाहूंगा कि जब ये कहा गया था कि कुछ उकसावे वाली या हिंसा के उकसावे वाली कार्रवाई के कुछ ट्वीट हुए थे और जिस पर सरकार ने आपत्ति जताई थी और ट्विटर से उसे हटाने के लिए कहा था, तब एक तरह से देखें आधी अधूरी कार्रवाई ट्विटर की तरफ से की गई थी। और साथ ही साथ जब कोरोना मामले में भारत को बदनाम करने से जुड़ा ट्वीट म्यूटेंट को लेकर जो ट्वीट किया गया, उसमें भी ट्विटर की तरफ से अपने तरफ से कोई स्वतः कार्रवाई नहीं की गई। तो ऐसे कई मामले सामने आए जिसमें दरअसल ट्विटर का रवैया प्रश्नों के घेरे में है। और आज सरकार ने स्पष्ट तौर पर यह कहा है कि जो लीगल फ्रेमवर्क है उसके तहत एक तरफ से देखें तो काम करना होता है कंपनियों को। और जहां तक ट्विटर का सवाल है उसे जो नए नियम है उसके पालन करने चाहिए। तो एक बहुत ही सख्त और कड़ा एक तरह से बयान कह सकते हैं सरकार की तरफ से, जब ट्विटर ने आज एक स्टेटमेंट जारी कर ये कहा था कि जो नए नियम है उसके लिए उसे कुछ समय चाहिए और उसने अपने कुछ मुद्दों पर एक चिंता भी जाहिर की थी। जी सकल
जी शैलेंद्र, संक्षिप्त में इतना स्ट्रांगली वर्डेड स्टेटमेंट जो भारत सरकार की तरफ से आया है, एक बात तो तय है कि, और ये पहली बार नहीं है, इससे पहले भी जब टूल किट को लेकर विवाद हुआ था उस पर भी जो भारत की सॉवरेनिटी है वो नॉन नेगोशिएबल है और कोई भी फॉरेन प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हमें नहीं बता सकती कि हमें क्या करना है अपने देश अपने सिटीजन्स के लिए, जहां तक उनकी राइट टू प्राइवेसी का सवाल है। क्या आपको लगता है कि ये जो स्टेटमेंट आया है, इतना स्ट्रांगली वर्डेड स्टेटमेंट है, एक तरह से भारत सरकार ने एक रेखा खींच दी है, दे हैव ड्रॉन द लाइन एंड इट इज नाउ इनकम्बेंट ऑन द ट्विटर टू एक्चुअली कम अप एंड फॉलो द रूल्स रेगुलेशंस, जो कंप्लायंस है उसको इंप्लीमेंट करने का अब उनको इंप्लीमेंट करना ही पड़ेगा ट्विटर को?
जी देखिए सकल, निश्चित तौर पर एक तरह से एक स्पष्ट संकेत दिए गए हैं और साफ तौर पर यह बताया गया है कि जो कोई भी मल्टीनेशनल सोशल मीडिया कंपनी हो उसे जो भारत के नियम है उनके पालन करने होंगे और वो देश को ना बताए जिसकी एक भारत की एक लोकतांत्रिक परंपरा रही है वर्षों की, उसे एक तरह से ज्ञान देने की कोशिश इन कंपनियों की तरफ से न की जाए, चाहे फ्री स्पीच का सवाल हो, क्योंकि खुद जब ये कंपनियां पक्षपातपूर्ण रवैया अपनाने के आरोपों को झेल रही हैं तो ऐसे में वो न बताएं कि लीगल फ्रेमवर्क में क्या किया जाना है और जो नियम बनाए जाते हैं उनका पालन करना होगा। तो निश्चित तौर पर एक सख्त संदेश है, स्पष्ट संदेश है तमाम सोशल मीडिया कंपनियों को और ट्विटर को।
जी शैलेंद्र मिश्रा, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। Let's move on now. Prime Minister Modi chaired a high-level meeting to review the National Digital Health Mission as well. Prime Minister directed that steps to be expedited to expand operations under NDHM. Prime Minister said that NDHM will bring ease of living for citizens to avail a large number of health services, observing that though the technical platform and building up of registries are inevitable essential elements, the utility of the platform to the citizens will be visible only by way of enabling citizens across the country to avail services like teleconsultation with the doctor, availing services of a lab, transferring test reports or health records digitally to the doctor and paying digitally for any of the above services. He directed NHA along with the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Electronics and IT to coordinate efforts in this direction. On 15th of August 2020, during his Independence Day address, Prime Minister had announced the launch of NDHM. Let's now move on. Zydus Cadila has announced biological therapy ZRC3308 used to treat mild COVID-19. The pharmaceutical company Zydus seeks Drugs Controller General of India or DGCI approval to undertake clinical trials for monoclonal antibodies mixture that can neutralize COVID infection. ZRC3308 is a cocktail of two anti-SARS-CoV-2 monoclonal antibodies. Fugitive Mehul Choksi, who had fled to Antigua and Bermuda, has been captured in Dominica. Choksi was missing from his home in Antigua and Barbuda, Caribbean nations of which he has been a citizen since early 2018. Now, Mehul Choksi, who is the nephew of fraudster Nirav Modi, is wanted in a rupees 13,500 crore loan fraud in the Punjab National Bank. He was last seen going for dinner in his car in Antigua and Barbuda on Sunday. An Interpol yellow notice was issued against Choksi after a request from the Antiguan police. This notice is issued by Interpol to track missing persons. US President Joe Biden has ordered US intelligence agencies to report to him in the next 3 months on whether the COVID-19 virus first emerged in China from an animal source or from a laboratory incident. Biden has said in a statement released by the White House that agencies are currently split over the 2 possible sources for the virus that swept the planet over the past year, killing more than 3.4 million people. Biden's order signals an escalation in mounting controversy over how the virus first emerged through animal contact at a market in Wuhan in China or through release of the coronavirus from a highly secure research laboratory in the same city.
It's imperative that we get to the bottom of just where the pandemic originated, not just for the purposes of understanding this pandemic, but the pandemics to come. You know, this is something that you have to ask the Chinese government, right? This is something that should be important. It should matter to them, but this is a question for them.
And with that, it's time to wrap up this newscast with a polite reminder: COVID protocols, frequent hand washing, social distancing, and even masking, even if you're indoors. Mask up, India. Namaskar.